Hello everyone, so this is the summary of the poem Preludes by T.S. Eliot. So these are the important points. This poem was written in 1910 and 1911. Preludes means an introduction of something in a musical manner played before the main piece of the music. This poem depicts the corruption, decay, and the isolation of the modern urban city life. This poem was included in the collection Proof Rock and Other Observations in 1917. Here, poet uses the techniques of stream of consciousness and imagism. Here, poet represents the city life as empty, devoid of any moral values. This poem is written in free verse. The poet was in USA and France when he wrote this poem. The poet wrote this poem when he was in his early 20s. So this is the text of the poem. The winter evening settles down with smell of sticks in passageways, 6 o'clock, the burnt out ends of smoky days, and now a gusty shower wraps the grimy scraps. So when the poem opens, poet describes the degrading, solitary, and meaningless life of urban people. The opening sets the mood of the poem. The speaker depicts the unhealthy lifestyle of the people. The poem is set on a winter evening. The poet talks about the sights, sounds, and smells of the evening time. One can smell the meat being cooked nearby while passing through the passageways. The time is 6 o'clock in the evening. The poet compares the evening with the leftover butt of cigarettes. This line reflects the air pollution in the city because of so many industries. The entire day is depicted as full of smoke, exhausting people in the evening. This line also depicts the behavior of people who are habitual of smoking a cigarette. The city is represented as a dirty and filthy place where air's quality is poor due to pollution and other waste material is also scattered there. Of withered leaves about your feet and newspapers from vacant lots, the showers beat on broken blinds and chimney pots, and at the corner of the street, a lonely cab horse steams and stamps, and then the lightning of the lamps. So, in these lines, speaker says that the city looks unpleasant when the rainy wind scatters the dead leaves at one's feet. Even the waste newspapers are blowing over the empty land. Now it starts raining, and one can hear the sound of the rain on broken blinds and chimney pots. The poet portrays a dirty and desolate picture of the city life. He further says that nearby a horse is stamping its feet on the ground. Now the lamps are lit in people's homes. They are safe inside their houses, but the poor horse is lonely outside. The morning comes to consciousness of faint stale smells of beer from the sawdust trampled street, with all its muddy feet that press to early coffee stands. With the other masquerades, that time resumes. One thinks of all the hands that are raising dingy shades in 1,000 furnished rooms. So in these lines, speaker says that he wakes up in the morning, he smells stale beer, and he sees people walking towards the coffee houses, leaving their footprints in the mud. These people follow the same pattern of life every day that shows their monotonous routines. Now people are getting ready to resume their daily work. The speaker imagines all people raising their window blinds of their rented apartments. You tossed a blanket from the bed, you lay upon your back and waited, you dozed and watched the night revealing the thousand sordid images of which your soul was constituted. They flickered against the ceiling. So, in these lines, speaker recalls the night before when he was turning down his bed covers. He remembers so many dirty and unpleasant images. Although he is in his bed, but he is not able to sleep as his mind gets disturbed because of the bombardment of so many unpleasant images which he had witnessed one day before. So he could see the reflection of all these dirty images on his bedroom ceiling. And when all the world came back, and the light crept up between the shutters, and you heard the sparrows in the gutters, you had such a vision of the street as the street hardly understands, sitting along the bed's edge where you curled the papers from your hair, or clasped the yellow soles of feet in the palms of both soiled hands. So in these lines, speaker says that next morning he could see the morning light and he gets rid of the memory of the dirty images. And then he hears the sparrows tweeting in the gutters outside. But this new day also brings back the vision of the dirty streets. Even the street is not able to recognize itself. It is so dirty. Here he is using a personification. He says that streets also feel gloomy the way speaker feels. In the morning, the speaker is sitting at the edge of the bed and is curling his hair from a paper. He is stretching and bending over to touch his feet. His hands are dirty, reflecting the dirt and the filth outside. His soul stretched tight across the skies that fade behind a city block, or trampled by insistent feet at 4 and 5 and 6 o'clock, and short square fingers stuffing pipes and evening newspapers and eyes assured of certain certainties. So in this part, speaker finds himself on the street. He says that his soul seems to be fading like the sun. As his presence is ignored by people who are busy, it seems to him as if his soul is trampled up under the feet of the hurrying people at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock. So people are busy in stuffing pipes with tobacco. He can see that evening newspapers are on sale. Next speaker says that he can see the grim reality of people and their habits. He says that they look certain as if they can't escape from this poor situation. The conscience of a blackened street, impatient to assume the world, I am moved by fancies that are curled around these images and cling. The notion of some infinitely gentle, infinitely suffering thing. Wipe your hand, close your mouth, and laugh. The worlds revolve like ancient women gathering fuel in vacant lots. So, in these lines, he says that one soul is the conscience of the street which is being ignored. This soul is being ignored by the people running to get to work, home, and work again. He says that his own soul is suffering a lot from such a disgusting environment. He says that he doesn't have any option but to acknowledge all such filthy and dirty environment. He says that our conscience wants to join the world, but it is being ignored every day. Next, he says that human beings will always remain busy in leading dull and monotonous life and in doing the repetitive tasks every day. He says that we have to face the reality. The speaker tells his readers to wipe their mouths and laugh at what the speaker has described so far. He says that this repetitive cycle of daily routine will go on the way old women can be seen collecting fuel in empty plots. So, human beings are not ready to break out of their pattern of behavior. He says that the life of modern people is controlled by clock. They keep on following their monotonous routine without living freely in the present moment. They are very busy in their daily tasks that they have ignored their conscience and their souls. They are not free in the modern world but are trapped in cyclical and repetitive tasks every day. He ends the poem by laughing at the suffering of human beings, and here the poem ends.